Did you hear that?
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, no problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening now or later, the game was delayed. I'll let Steve explain it because I need to go on and do a couple more things. But so, Steve?
Well, the lights went out in Georgia, and when it was game time, the lights, as you know, did not come on, and so the game was finally called off.
21, and we're
And as everyone was leaving the stadium and the parking lot, the lights came on, and so the coaches made the decision to play the game, and so the game is officially on. Kickoff will be at 8:30. There will be a 12-minute halftime, and so we are looking to start the game soon. The teams are back out on the field doing their exercises, stretching, running through their plays, getting back into game mentality and formation. We trust they're not too much the worse for wear, having been sitting for 2 hours in the locker room. Fans are beginning to trickle back in. Cheerleaders are excited and thrilled, and the party is about to start again. So let me invite you to contact a friend or a neighbor that you know enjoys the live streaming, and we'll begin in about 8 minutes with the kickoff. I appreciate Jim Pointer being here and giving us some history of Vikings football during the long delay. We're working with a skeleton crew now in the press box as everyone had gone home. So we will do the best we can and enjoy the game. Take a moment and call a friend, text a friend, email a friend, let them know we're online. The game is tonight, not tomorrow. This is when our producer, Jay Ryan, earned his monies, his big bucks. We've disassembled the projection booth, and now we have it back on. Everything is about set up. If we can get the camera up and running, we'll be ready. The Vikings have gathered in the south end zone, having done their warm-ups. There continues to be a brisk wind, 15, 16, 18 miles an hour from the north. The temperature now at game time is going to be 56 degrees, even more feeling like football weather. So we're going to enjoy the time tonight, and the kids will get to play this game after all. We're waiting for officials to show up. Evidently they were on their way home too. But the official kickoff time has been announced to be 8:30. That's some 6-7 minutes away. Yeah. Timekeeper and the clock runner are both here, Jim and David. So we're going to get this camera hooked up so that you can not only listen but also see the scoreboard. Here comes officials from the north end zone. So we've got two of them. So it looks like this game is actually going to happen. Coach DeLay has his team on the sideline, and he's ready to go. The North Crowley Panthers are gathering on the 35-yard line for their final team rally before they will head out to their sideline on the east side of the Craven Field. Here comes the other two umpires, officials. They're all stretching, as the players did. They're going to be ready to go in just a moment as well. We've already had the coin toss early. We'll let them declare what that coin toss results will be. Given the delay, I doubt that we will do the official captains meet at the center of the field, but you can never know.
No, I went to stop and talk to Bill.
Oh, okay.
Or to Dave. All right, Steve, how you doing?
Well, Jay?
I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you?
Well, I can hear me.
Okay.
There, can you hear me?
I got you.
Hi, Jay.
I got you.
All right. Whoop, no, I'm off now.
I think I've got.
Testing 1, 2, 3. There I am. So Jay and I are going to try to do 2 or 3 rolls right here together at the same time.
That'll be fun.
It's going to be a fun night. The moon's shining down on us.
Are we ready for
Full
some
and bright.
football, ladies and gentlemen? Believe it or not.
So, all right, teams are lining up. The Panthers are going to defend the south goal, receive the opening kickoff.
Looks like Lamar will be
Vikings
kicking off.
Will be kicking from the north with the wind at their back. Of course, our kicker is number 23, Blake Ford.
Blake Ford.
He
to
doesn't
kick
need a
for
lot
the
of help
Vikings.
getting the ball into the end zone on kickoffs, but we will see what Coach DeLay has said, how he's going to play this, whether he's going to kick deep or going to do a punch kick.
Who's deep?
Back for the Panthers, number 3
Deep
and
for the
number 7.
Panthers.
Number 3, Kalen Washington. Number 7, Armani Creighton. Once again, forward to kicking off.
All right. The umpire, the back judge, is holding the ball, waiting to get the ball. There we go. So Blake is now backed up, ready to kick, and the time has officially.
Football, Friday night. Believe it or
And
not,
here we
we're back
go
on. How
with
enlightening.
the kickoff. Whoop! The back judge is going to go back out, stopping play. It seems as we just cannot get this game played tonight, but a little patience will go a long way.
We spotted that, didn't we?
Yep.
What was wrong?
The chain cruise.
Okay, now the chain crew is the current delay. They are having difficulty getting the chain stretched out to a full 10 yards. All right. Now we're going, the back judge is running off the field. Blake is back,
Forward to kick off.
and the kick is off deep, hits at the 8-yard line.
From
Picked
the goal
up.
line, it's number 7, Creighton.
Ball is returned to the 25-yard line.
In on the stop, Javion Moore, number 9, leading the charge for the Vikings. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line for the Panthers.
All right. So the Panthers come out. If you listened to the pregame show earlier, you'll remember that their quarterback number is a highly mobile quarterback. Whoop! And
Hand
so
off to number 7, caught in the backfield.
number 7, Clayton, was a running back. He was caught for a 4-yard loss.
Leading
So
the charge
ball's
for
on the
Vikes,
20,
James Douglas,
21.
number 3. Loss of 3 yards.
All right, once again.
2nd down.
17 in motion. Quarterback alone in the backfield.
Quarterback is who? Number 4?
Number 4, he's going to run quarterback keeper.
Quarterback keep by number
Is-
4, Chance Beecham. Beecham, quarterback.
Tackled by 3.
Met,
Down by number 3, James Douglas.
met by the linebacker James Douglas for a gain
Back
of
to the
2.
original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Ball on the 24-yard line. 3rd down and 11. We have 3 wide receivers split out right, 1 left. The ball is fumbled, mishandled.
Beecham,
Quarterback
muffs the
Beecham
ball.
falls on the ball at the 17-yard line.
Zone fumble back to the 17. It'll be 4th down from the 18-yard line.
And so now we have 4th and 18 from the 18-yard line.
Yeah.
We're looking to see who.
Deep for Lamar, number 11, Cam Brady.
All right, they're set up in kick formation, maybe. Oh, and the ball goes through the kicker's hand. He covers it on the half-yard line. It'll be Lamar's ball at the half-yard line.
Recovered by North Crowley on the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal, Vikings at the
The ball just went squirting right by the kicker. He wisely ran and covered it, catching it inside the field of play, and it before sliding across the goal line into the end zone. And so it is Lamar's ball, 1st and goal at the half-yard line. Coming out is the Vikings' normal starting lineup. Jack Dawson, quarterback.
Dawson at quarterback.
Williams at tailback. Dawson takes the ball, carries it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Lamar from 1 yard out.
And so 2 minutes into the game, the Vikings take a lead of 6-0 with a half-yard drive. I don't know if you can call that a drive, and I'm not sure how many seconds were involved in that, but it was pretty quick, wasn't it, gentlemen?
Attempt the point after. Gomez to snap.
And so the ball is
The kick is
kicked.
good.
We have Dawson kicking with,
Lamar 7,
Blake Ford
Crowley
kicking
0.
with Jack Dawson holding the ball. The kick is true, going high and deep. Gomez was the deep snapper, making that tandem work. And so here we are with 10 minutes left in the game. The score, Lamar Vikings 7, the North Crowley Panthers 0. So the Panthers kind of self-destructed on their first possession. We'll see what they do and if the jitters are out and the blood is circulating now as they come back out. Again, deep for the Panthers, number 9 and number 1. Forward back to kick. Taylor, number 1, deep. Brown, number 9. Ford again kicks the ball deep. This time the ball goes out of the end zone by about a yard. And so the Crowley will take the ball. The Panthers will get the ball at the 25-yard line with 10 minutes to go in the game. That
I'm editing the website.
Blake Ford is indeed an offensive weapon. And so the Panthers come out again. 17, their quarterback, is the running back. And he kicks the ball.
Beecham hands off to Cyrus, number 17.
Tackled by 3.
In on the tackle, James Douglas,
Douglas, number
outside
3.
linebacker on that
Leading the
left-hand
charge.
side.
Gain
And
of
so
2, 2nd and 8.
the ball is now at the 27-yard line, a gain of 2. And here comes again, 17 running around again on the outside. He goes out at the 29-yard line.
That's Patrick Cyrus.
Cyrus taking the ball again and running left
First down,
and picking up 8 yards.
7 yards.
So the ball is now on the 34-yard line It is 3rd and 1. Quarterback keeps it, but he is met behind the line, and for no gain.
Beecham
For
on
no
the
gain.
keep. No gain on the play.
That he did a quarterback keeper on that right-hand side. He was met there by that right-hand contingent led by number 32, that left-hand outside linebacker, Jerry Hood. All right, it looks like they are considering going for it at fourth and a long 1. They bring in their heavy package. It's going to be another quarterback keep in all likelihood.
Flag on the
But
play.
that is all changed as there is a penalty flag for, let's see what.
Should be a false start.
Yep, it's going to be called a false start. So that'll make it 4th and 6
False starts
rather than,
against the Panthers, the call. So it's 4th down and 6
so it'll be 4th and 6 rather than 4th and 1, and that changes the whole
to the
strategy.
29-yard line.
The Panthers send out their kicking team.
Who's the kicker?
Trevon West goes deep to receive. Kicker,
41.
Trayvon West, 19, deep for Lamar. Number 41, Javon Milton.
deep snap is good. Kick is off. Yep. Ball is going to roll dead at the Lamar 42-yard line.
30-yard punt. 30-yard punt unofficially. 1st and 10, Lamar.
Looks like a 33, 34-yard punt. And so that means Lamar takes the ball and comes back with 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. And we welcome Jim Pointer back to do the color commentary. We're grateful that he
1st and 10.
made it home and made it back safely as we, okay, right up the middle, number 14. Ooh,
Number 14, the ball carrier, Caleb Phillips.
Phillips went right up the middle for 11 yards, slung down
1st
hard.
and 10, Lamar.
When he hit the ground, the ball came out, but
Steve, we've got 2 good junior running backs that are going to give us.
let's get you on.
Am I on?
say
Okay,
it
there we
again.
go.
There
Well, I
you
was just
go.
going to say we've got 2 really good junior running backs, so that position's in good shape for the next 2 years.
Yes, it is, and there he goes again, right up the middle for another 10 yards.
Phillips, the ball carrier, brought down by number 11, Francis.
Now he's up to,
Francis.
now the Vikings are on the Panthers' 37-yard line. Back to back 10-yard runs. We had a
That's a free play.
free play with an offsides. Oh, beautiful pass.
Intended for Cam Brady.
It was a free play because the
Broken up
defense
at the
jumped off sides.
23, I think.
Brady was at the end zone and in good
23.
position, but there was a great defensive play by the defensive back.
That was real smart by Jack Dawson to realize right away that the defense had jumped, and so he immediately did the right thing, which take the single coverage on the Lamar side of the field, because with Cam's height, that's a matchup we'll take all day.
Every day and twice on Sunday. That puts us at the 33-yard line. 1st down. All right, again, Phillips up the middle
Phillips up the middle.
for another 11-yard gain.
That was a nice design, Steve, because what they did was motion the flanker across,
20, Wilson,
which, of course, when you put a guy in motion, what's that do? That tells you whether they're playing man or zone. If the guy goes with you, with our motion guy, then you know they're playing man, and drug that guy out of the middle and then did a handoff up the middle. So it was a good design.
From the 21-yard
Beautifully
line.
designed. Now, that's 3 times that Phillips has touched a ball, picking up over 10 yards each time.
Another one, Jack. Another free play. Got him.
It's going to be...
The defender, 3, Kalen Washington, the
A
intended
deep pass
receiver.
to Cam Brady again in the end zone. Number 3 again got his hand up and knocked it down. But again, the Panthers were off sides. So that was a free play. That brings up another 1st down. But it'll be 1st and 5. So now the ball's on the 17-yard line. Panthers are doing everything they can in this series to help us, but the Vikings are doing their part as well.
now you've got Trayvon and Cam on the same side of the field, so let's see what that
Two wide
does.
receivers out right. We're going to run up the middle again
Tackle by
with
7.
Phillips, the ball carrier,
Phillips.
brought down by number 7.
Oh, that's going to hurt his average. He's only got 6 yards on that carry.
Steve, Caleb is the power running back, and Anthony Williams, who plays
and goal
two. The other
9
junior
yard
running back is maybe the little more elusive of the two, but that really keeps the defense on their toes because they have a little bit different skill set, but what they have in common is they both can run.
They both can run. Williams has been the workhorse. He has tonight and throughout the season. So we have first and goal at the 9.
Motion shows zone.
Trayvon West. Ooh.
Tackle by
Phillips, around the left side, brought down by number 4, Beecham.
44.
Correction, number 44,
Phillips
Anderson.
went in motion and
You sure there's a 44?
so Jim, tell us what happened there. I think I missed that. We lost a yard.
He's a linebacker.
Well, in terms of the guy that motioned across, there really wasn't anybody to account for the defensive end on
Yes.
that side. It looked like we blocked down, and I can't really tell you whose assignment was missed, but clearly somebody. But that'll make up
There
for
it
it.
is, right there, up the middle yet again. Goes
Ball down to the 2 now, so you can.
Phillips
21 on the tackle.
Number 21,
all the way down to the 2-yard line, an 8-yard gain.
number 44, we don't have your name, so we'll just call you Anderson, making the stop. It's third down and goal.
Jay's still doing
2.
his stand-up shake for the audience. Now we've got third down and goal at the 2-yard line. Dawson at quarterback.
You got Flake.
Williams in the backfield. Dawson has a keeper. Did he make it? Yep, they gave
Touchdown,
it.
Dawson.
Dawson takes the ball as a keeper over the left side. He was hit at the 1, but he was able to fall into
Henderson
the end
taking
zone
the
for a
stop.
TD.
After
That too was a good, well-designed play because we overloaded the box by having an extra blocker to the right, and then Jack ran what was ostensibly a naked boot. He didn't really boot it so much as he just ran off tackle, but they clearly thought we were going right, and Jack went left.
And it worked. Ford is on to kick. Ball was snapped down good, and the kick is good. Blake is pretty consistent right there. So with 5 minutes left in the game, the game is 14, Panthers 0. So,
Steve, we've got a nice surprise at halftime. Even with the lights going on and off, I've secured Kendall Magana, who was the quarterback for the 02 and 03 football teams here. Kendall then went on to play in college at Southeast Missouri State and happens to be in town this weekend with his 4 children and his wife. So he's all grown up now. So he's going to come up and spend some time with us. Kendall has a very strong faith, and in fact makes his living doing mission-oriented work. But I won't ruin that surprise. I'll let him talk to us about it at halftime.
that'll be great. We have a 12-minute halftime.
Darren will be here.
Okay.
Good.
All right. The ball is teed up
Ford to kick
as
off.
Ford approaches the ball. Once again, kicks it deep, and again, the ball goes deep into
It'll be a touchback for the
about
Panthers
7 yard
out at the
deeps
25.
into the end zone. And so once again, the Panthers will start on their own 25-yard line. They've yet to make a first down. In fact, they have, if my calculations are correct, they have 2 plays that have positive yardage, one of those for 9 yards. And so here we are again. Number 1's the running back. Number 7,
Four's the quarterback,
Creighton.
right?
Yeah, quarterback.
Number
Yeah.
4 is your quarterback, Beecham. Chance
Beecham. Beecham's quarterback, man in motion. Ball is handed off to number 1.
Around the right side,
Christopher
number
Taylor.
1, Taylor, the ball carrier.
He's met after a gain of 3 yards.
That was a
4
great.
yards.
That was a great formed tackle by Harrison Griffith. Harrison's a
32.
junior,
Washington,
really a
number
good ball
3,
player
32.
and low maintenance. He's always in the right spot. That was just a great tackle.
According to our roster, another Anderson brother.
So the ball is 2nd down and 6 on the 24. Same tandem in the backfield, trips left. Again, ball run up the middle by Taylor.
Taylor
Again,
up the middle.
he's met.
Ball's out.
After-
Ball's on the ground.
Well, that 32 was ours.
Yeah, the ball was out. After a gain of 1, the ball comes out. Well, they're giving him a gain of 2. The ball comes out,
I'm
but
sorry. The
they said the
32 was
whistle had
on
blown,
us.
evidently. So the ball it's now 3rd and 4 on the 26-yard line.
Number 44 is
2nd down and 4.
number 44 is blitzing off the edge there.
There he is, and he
got it.
Beecham sacked.
Beecham is sacked back at the 19 with the blitz off of that corner. As you were saying, Jim.
Joey's been a great addition to the team. That's Joey Hartley, number 44. He started his football and academic career coming up through the Arlington High system and then transferred here this year. And he hasn't missed a beat. He's worked his way into the starting lineup and has been a good player for us.
So after a loss of 7 on that play, the Panthers are back to kick once again. West is back standing on his own 45-yard line.
Kicking for the Panthers, Francis, number 11.
Got a lot of room here.
Yep, got a lot.
Block in the back.
Block in the back.
The kicker. Flags on the play.
Block in the back. Yep. That didn't help us.
41 was the punter.
Well, Darius got his money's worth on that penalty.
Yes, brought down
If
by
you're going to get a block in the back, you might as well get a good one. And that was a full Monty. That was the full Monty.
He pancaked him. That's right. Illegal block in the back.
You know who might be the most relieved person here at Cravens tonight that the game's going on tonight instead of tomorrow is Travion, because with OU Texas, I would imagine he was planning on attending that game. And
Surely not.
When this game almost got moved to noon, he was probably an unhappy camper.
So the Vikings take over on their own 40-yard line after that 10-yard block in the back penalty
number 16,
during the
Williams,
kick return.
Number 14, Phillips, on each side of
So
Dawson.
Dawson is
Twins
back
right, single left.
with 2 running backs in the backfield. Oh, there he
Outstanding
is.
shot. Good shot, Jack.
Jack Dawson throws down the line,
Touchdown.
down the
Number 11, Cam Brady.
hitting Cam Brady in stride.
Steve,
60-yard pass.
It's the little
60
things that matter.
yards.
About halfway on that sideline go route, about halfway down, Cam Newton stuck his paws out and gently pushed off of the defensive guy and got himself a little separation before the refs really were focused on those two doing battle. And you know, that's the kind of little things you got to do to get yourself the separation to make a great play like
Out
that.
of bounds at the 9.
Oh, it is not a
So
touchdown.
first
He
and
went out of
goal
bounds at the 9.
At the 9-yard line.
So, first down at the 9.
16.
Ball of Williams up the middle,
middle.
off the left tackle. Looks like a gain of
That's all right.
4. Second down at the 5.
You know, Coach Pete,
Second and goal at the 5.
Coach Pete was such a heavy run-oriented offense in his days at Lamar. Used to say nothing makes a first-team running back run harder than giving the second-team guy a series. And that's what you're seeing here is both Williams, Anthony Williams, and Phillips make each other better because they really do compete for the job.
They do.
Got him.
Oh! He was open in the corner of the end zone.
19, Trayvon West.
It was a bit high and went off of West's fingertips.
You know, Trayvon be the first to tell you he should have caught that.
Yeah, that
He's
was
got,
a catchable ball.
He's got great hands. I think he had a little too much time to think about that one.
Yeah. So what we have is when what we've done so far is when we had both of those running backs out there as wings, then we end up throwing the ball. So
Well,
we've got
From stem to stern across there, you've got all 4 of the guys that are receivers, including Colt Fuller, who's lined up at left tight end here. In fact, this might be a good time to take a look at Colt. And the Colt's wide open in the middle if he can get him the ball. There he comes. Got him.
he waited way too long.
Yep.
20.
Dawson tried to catch him. It's going to be a pick six, 99-yard pick six.
99 yards
No
on the
flags.
pick six by number 20, Ronald Wilson. Touchdown, Panthers.
Yeah, in that case, Colt lined up at left tight end and then ran what we call a dig route across the field. And as Jack rolled to the boundary, he perhaps stared down Colt a little too hard, and the defensive back saw his eyes and jumped the route and all the way the other way.
Just stepped right in front of the pass.
He really did. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And 99-yard defensive touchdown, pick six.
Number 19 to attempt the point after.
So on
Rodriguez.
to kick for the Panthers is number 19, Sammy
Taylor
Rodriguez.
to hold.
You know, you'd never get Coach DeLay to admit it, but he probably has a part of him that's saying, you know, that's probably not a bad thing to have happen to us, so that we stay engaged in this game and make sure we have our heads where they should be.
Panthers 7, Vikings
A
14.
little bit of a wake-up call. So the
99 yards.
the kick
pick
was
six.
good. So the new score with minute 51, Vikings 14, Panthers 7. All right, the officials are conferring down in the north goal line. The Vikings are making their way out to receive the kickoff. Going back to receive,
Deep for Lamar, number 19, Trevon West.
West
number
back,
17,
as along with
Chandler Morgalski.
Morgalski are back deep.
Kicking off, Sammy Rodriguez.
Once again, Rodriguez.
I think is my thing on? I think I'm off.
I'm hearing you.
Are you? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing it. Chandler is one of those receivers that, you know, based on measurables, he's not very tall. He's not as fast as some of the other Viking receivers. He just catches everything you throw to him. I had him this past summer, and in fact, in the spring game last spring, he caught 2 touchdown passes during that game. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. Some of these guys that don't look the part have big hearts, and one of the best football players arguably in Lamar history was Dimitri Anagnostis, and Dimitri was 5'0" and 95 pounds wet, except he was one of the toughest football players you'd ever meet.
All right, kickoff goes down to the
West
14-yard line on the far right of the east side of the field. West takes the ball, comes back to the middle, giving ground before
Who tackled him?
turning back
Cameron
upfield,
Reed,
where he
holding the indication against Lamar.
came out to the 31-yard line,
The injured player over there, Keith.
but there's a holding penalty that will take the ball back 10 yards. We have timeout on the field
Official
for an
timeout.
injured player.
Injured player on the field. He's up and moving. It's number 36, Omar.
So the ball is placed on the 21-yard line.
Well, Steve, this will be an interesting drive for Lamar.
21-yard line.
They've got to be irritated, I think would be the right word, at what happened by not coming away with points on that last drive. And so I would suspect that these guys are going to make sure that they get the job done on this drive.
Well, they've been doing pretty good work. It's just that one.
Yeah, just one play, but it didn't quite get it finished.
Yep.
We had 5 Andersons.
But one play is all it takes sometimes. And in that
That's
case,
right.
that's all it took.
You need the right numbers, but not a lot.
All right, Dawson takes the ball, fakes
Dawson on the keep.
a pass to the right flat before doing a keeper up
First
the
by
middle.
Creighton.
He moves the ball up to the 28-yard line.
And that's a good call by Coach DeLay's staff to get
28-yard
Jack,
line.
who again's mad at himself for
It'll be
that
second
decision he made on the last drive, to let him carry the football and take some of that
And a long throw.
anger out on the other guys.
Yeah, there's nothing like delivering a good hit to take care of that anger and
That's
frustration
right.
with
That's
oneself.
right.
Okay.
That's another 3-play, I
Well,
think.
no,
I
Let's see.
think-
Now they blew this one dead.
Well, I don't know whether it was false start.
False
It is
start
false
against the Vikings.
It's going to be a false start. Move the ball back to the 23. So lose 5 yards on that, so it brings up second now.
Second down and 8
8.
from the 23.
Dawson in the backfield, ready to receive the snap. Another penalty flag down.
Holding again.
Yep.
Pass is complete to number 16. Anthony
Williams was in the backfield, slipped out of the backfield.
Out of bounds by whom? 20?
21.
Dawson flips the ball to him. He takes the ball up
Pushed out of
across
bounds by
midfield
number
to the
21, Isaiah
45.
Henderson.
But there is a holding penalty, which negates the
Holding
play,
against
moves
the
the ball
Vikings,
back
indication.
another 10 yards. Should
Will
put it
still
at
be
about the
second down.
13-yard line.
You know, Steve, you asked me earlier if the
18
delay of the
to go.
game because of the lighting issue gets to the players a little bit, and the answer is it does. We're all human, and everybody gets impatient. They want to get the game started. They want to get out there and get going. And so, this may be a case where Lamar is just a little bit amped up, and they've just got to settle down and execute because they're the better team. They just need to show it.
Shuffle pass up the middle
Shuffle
to
pass to number 14,
Caleb
Caleb
Phillips.
Phillips.
44 tackle.
Tackled by number 44,
He's hurt.
doesn't.
and he is injured.
He makes
at the moment.
positive yardage up to the 17-yard line, so a gain of 4. Brings up third and looks like about
Sorry, we
13.
don't have number 44's name. Nice play by Anderson.
So the ball's on the 17. They're facing their first.
From the
3 and out.
17-yard line,
So probably be the last play of the first quarter, so they're going to change directions here probably.
Yep. And that 3 and out is thanks to their own self-destruction. 3 penalties on this drive.
He's got Travion there.
Going deep for
That's
Travion.
it. That'll be pass interference.
And
yeah.
now,
on the play.
Okay, so that'll be an automatic first down for the Vikes.
yep,
Defenders were Wilson and Henderson.
Ford had all time. Excuse me. Dawson had all time he needed to make it that deep
Trayvon
throw.
West, number 19.
He threw the ball deep to Trayvon West.
Pass interference
It was covered by
indication against
3 different
the
defenders.
Panthers.
But just before the ball got there, one of the defenders decided he needed to help Trayvon, gave him a little
32-yard line,
shove. So that's
first
pass
and 10
interference
Vikings.
penalty leading to a first down.
11 seconds remaining in the quarter.
Ball on the 31. That's a strange penalty. He just flat pushed him.
7 and 14 in the back.
Okay.
11 seconds in the half. In the quarter. All right.
Half penalty 14.
Hand off to Phillips.
Maybe get one more play in, maybe not.
Phillips takes the ball and goes around the left end, picking up positive yardage before going out of bounds
40 knocking it.
Knocked out of bounds by Wilson, number 20.
at the 38-yard line.
End of the first
End of
quarter.
the first
Lamar
quarter.
14, North Crowley 7. Once again, if you know somebody who left early for whatever reason,
So was the game of 5?
both the North Crowley coverage, although I don't see them doing it, but the Lamar Vikings radio is covering the game live. So feel free to listen in at lamarvikings.com, and you can find your way to Lamar Radio on YouTube.
So beginning of the second quarter, the Vikings are going to take the ball at their own 37. It'll be third.
You know, Steve, again, from having coached Jack for the last 3 summers, I feel like I know him and his personality pretty well, and he's a real ultra competitor. And what I've seen of Jack so far tonight is he needs to remember that his distribution, his route trees and his reads, from left to right, all these guys are good receivers. And in other words, he doesn't have to force the ball to Travion. He's got good options here.
Anyone
Great
can catch a
example
ball.
right
There's
there.
an example as he hits
Pass
tight end number
complete to
24.
Number 24.
Leandre Roberts plays on the Lamar, or plays basketball. I don't know if he's on the Lamar varsity or not, but we had a little bit of a tug of war to get him during the summertime because he played AAU basketball as well as played for our 7-on-7 team. Very good athlete.
And that was a beautiful play, fake up the middle, and then hit him on the... Okay, we got a screen over here to the right that's going nowhere.
Dawson screen.
Phillips
Caleb
takes the ball
Phillips, caught
in the left
backfield
flat
for a loss.
and is thrown for a 2-yard loss.
Creighton, number 7,
They
making the
sniffed
tackle.
that one out pretty good, didn't they?
They were where they needed to be, weren't they?
They did.
A loss of 2 yards. Second down
Second
and
and
12.
12.
Sticks haven't caught up yet.
All right, we
He's
got
going
a
to go
penalty
deep
flag.
right.
Oh,
All right, Cam, good catch.
Cam Brady.
Cam Brady
free,
on the
free
catch.
play, deep pass down the far right
There is a flag
sideline.
on the play.
Cam Brady catches it at, looks like, the 18-yard line. Offsides,
On
Panthers.
Brady for the tackle.
Penalty is declined.
Penalty is
Result
against
of the play.
North Crowley. It's
Now,
declined.
Lamar wants to go fast here. They don't want to let the Crowley kids get reset. So as soon as those chains are set, Lamar's going to go.
Vikings
So
at the 18-yard line.
7 and 14 in the back.
what is that, about 30-yard pass?
Now
Pass play?
keep an eye to the field, which the wide side of the field is towards us here. You got 3 of our A guys lined up.
Trips left.
And that's where he's looking.
And he's
That's where
looking
he's
this
looking.
way. He's got a wide open
Yep.
field. Running to the right.
Dawson
Takes
steps
the ball out
of
at the
bounds
11.
At the 12.
So he did have the trips left and was looking to try to go to them. They were all covered, but that left.
Gain of 6, second and 4.
Well, that's what stresses the defense. When you've got 3 guys that, from a scouting standpoint, all 3 of them can make plays. You can put a safety over the top of one of them, but you sure can't put them over 3 of them. So they got to make a choice.
14 in the backfield.
And then Dawson
Yes.
can use his legs as well.
All right.
Oh, it's going to be pressure. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Intended for 19.
Dawson
Pass intended.
began to
West.
receive a little pressure through the ball to the end zone, but
Flag
there's
on
a
the play.
holding call.
What a holding.
Holding against the Vikings.
Defender was Wilson. Holding against Lamar.
And they're going to take that. So that'll back the ball up. Where are they going to place the ball?
22.
To the 22.
Well, Coach DeLay won't be happy about all the penalties this half because there are different kinds of penalties, just like there are different kinds of play. And, effort plays where maybe you get caught extending a block as a wide receiver and you get called for holding is one thing, but interior holding shouldn't happen continuously.
Phillips, the ball carrier.
So Phillips takes the handoff,
hit by
goes over the
25,
right
Reddick.
and for no gain, looks like.
Maybe.
Spelled differently.
He may have lost a yard.
He got hurt.
I-C.
Phillips comes off limping. I think that holding call was defensive line getting beat and Dawson running away and the guy chasing him. And it's easier to tackle than to take a sack.
That's right.
All right, Dawson
That
back,
should be,
looking
he's
left.
open. Good.
Oh,
For 11.
Pass was intended for Brady. Incomplete.
3 defending.
The defender was number 3,
ball
Washington.
thrown to the 15-yard line on the left-hand side.
4th down and 14.
Cam Brady just could not bring the ball in. It hit him in the hands. So that brings up 4th down. They have to go down to the 8-yard line
4th
for a
down,
first
14.
down.
Twins left, single right.
4th and 14. From the 24, he's going heading for the end zone where it's a
There you go.
touchdown.
19.
Pass is complete for a touchdown. Trayvon West from 22 yards out.
West caught the ball in the end zone. He had a man on him with the safety over the top, and he still came down.
I would say, judging by the number of times they've targeted him tonight, that hamstring is feeling much better.
Well, it doesn't hurt to make a couple of touchdown catches. That helps.
Yeah, that'll put some hop in your step. Well, as I said earlier, Steve, you get once every few years you hope to get a kid that's a complete package at receiver, and Travion truly is that. Oklahoma has their choice of players in this part of really over the whole United States, and for them to have committed, make an offer to Travion after his junior season shows you the skill set that young man possesses, and he's just getting better and better.
He's just getting better and better. Now, Last week, he set a new city record for receiving touchdown, and he just added to it.
That's great.
So,
And the kid who had the prior record was Kofi Boateng, was it
yes,
not?
yes.
Okay, Kofi was a receiver here for Lamar and a darn good one, and I believe is playing at Southern Illinois University. I'm not positive of that, but I believe that's where he is. Actually,
So with 9:33, the new score: the Vikings 21, Panthers 7.
let's look that up.
9 and 17.
Blake Ford takes the ball, tees the ball up
Yes, 9-1.
deep for
Brown
the
and
Panthers
Taylor
are
deep.
Taylor and Brown.
Taylor and
deep.
Brown deep for the Panthers.
Let's see
Ford
what
to kick
Ford
off.
does.
Into the wind.
Kicking into the wind. He kicks a pooch kick,
You didn't see it.
and the ball goes up high, and Lamar recovers it at the 34-yard line.
There's the break they needed.
Yeah, the ball hit the ground,
Number 3.
recovered by James Douglas.
James Douglas with the onside kick
No,
return.
I don't think a Panther ever tried to get it.
Didn't look like it. James was all over that. James had kind of an interesting summer. He of course, he played 7-on-7 for us. Great leader, probably the alpha male of the defense for
First and
Lamar.
10 Vikes
And
at their 35
this summer,
yard
after
line.
7-on-7, but before fall camp, he was running through an apartment complex and stepped in a hole and partially tore his Achilles tendon, and so he missed the first couple of games. So
Dawson in the
it's
shotgun.
great to see him now making plays.
Wow, look at that.
All right,
Up the middle,
first
number
play.
16, Anthony Williams.
Williams takes the ball, goes right up the middle off the left tackle for a gain
Number
of
20 making the stop,
looks like
Ronald
about
Wilson,
13 yards. Ball's down on the 22-yard line. So
First and 10
He's,
Vikings from the 22.
the Vikings may have found a play that's working. That's about the 5th time he's run up the middle for 5 or 10 yards or more.
Well, they're a balanced offense, so they should be able to find what the defense is giving them.
Yep.
7 kept it.
There you go. Going to run again. 7. Good. There
Dawson
you go.
on the
Yep,
kick,
Dawson
down
does
to
a
the
keeper
10-yard
over the
line.
right
Picked
guard.
up by number 21, Isaiah Henderson.
Scampers down to the 11-yard line for a
Maybe
gain of
11-yard
11.
line, it's first and 10.
Another
from the
first
11.
down, first and 10 at the 11.
There's an assistant coach here for years and years that you guys remember, James Stallings. And James used to say about quarterbacks, don't always be looking for a soft landing, meaning when you're running, you got to run like a running back. Don't be just looking for a place to go set your bottom down. And you can see Jack's body lean forward. Jack's all in as a running back once he they call his number.
Number 16, Williams.
So
picked
once
up
again,
by Henderson,
they
number
call
21.
Williams' number. He goes up off the right guard for a gain of 7 down to the 4-yard line. Whoop, they're putting him on the 5-yard line.
Second down.
So a 6-yard gain. 2nd and 5. 2nd and 3.
They could
Another-
jumped again.
Flag on the play.
Another, let's see, offsides by the Panthers again.
Offsides, North Crowley.
So that's going to take the ball down to the 2-yard
Half the
line,
distance to the goal.
It's going to be second again now.
and still 2nd down.
Second down.
Ball on the 3. The ball
16's got it.
Super block by Colt Fuller there, number 13.
Anthony Williams takes the handoff,
Williams takes the ball and goes off the left tackle,
First down.
leading the charge.
taking the ball
for the
down to
Panthers,
the
Isaiah
half-yard
Henderson.
line.
Okay, he wound it. Here we go.
Colt Fuller's an interesting guy. Under normal circumstances, he would have been
First and
Lamar's
goal.
quarterback the last few years, except Jack Dawson's in his class.
The half-yard line.
And so Colt made himself into a very good tight end.
That's what you do. You adapt and use your athleticism where it's needed. Dawson takes the quarterback
Dawson
keeper up
on
the
the
middle,
keep. Touchdown, Viking.
In fact,
takes it into the end zone for a touchdown.
for that play, Steve, they bounced Colt Fuller over from the left side to the right side, and then Colt led and opened up the hole, and boy, the back was right behind him. So that was a nice series by Colt
Ford
Fuller.
to attempt
Colt,
the point after Dawson.
it's great to have a guy like Colt who
Gomez.
thinks like a quarterback but plays receivers. You and I were talking earlier, that kind of mindset really helps Jack Dawson to know that Colt can see the defense and can find the soft spots and get open. He's an effective receiver.
And he led the way with the block up
The
that
kick
middle.
is good.
Yes, he did.
Normally you'd think a big
7:21
lineman would
remaining in the first
be leading
half.
the way, but there he was.
Vikings 28, Panthers
So Ford
7.
comes on for the extra point, drills it down the middle for the extra point. So with 7:21 left in the game,
Again, ladies
the new
and
score
gentlemen,
is
you know,
Vikings
someone who
28,
left,
Panthers
or someone
7.
that just couldn't be here, you can listen into the game on LamarVikings.com.
So that was a good comeback.
That was. They looked like they had a little more bounce in their step, didn't they? As they recovered that kickoff.
So they overcame 3 different penalties in the previous series, and then they came back on this time with no penalties. So they cleaned that up.
Well, they're going to have to, because as we were talking about pre-lighting issue here, this district is a district that's really top heavy, and we still have 3 of the other AISD schools to play that are playoff caliber teams, and so candidly, you can get away with a little bit of sloppy play against an opponent that's a little overmatched, but you can't do that in the games that are coming up. And so I know that Coach DeLay will be more focused on making sure that we eliminate the mistakes, not the effort's great. The effort's been fine.
So Ford does another short kick. Ball's received on the 20-yard line, returned to the 25. Kicking into that wind, they're not trying to go
takes
deep.
the kick. That's Theodore English. Who did it? 32. On the stop for Lamar, Jerry Hood, number 32. First and 10 Panthers.
Panthers take
at their own
over the ball on their own 24-yard line.
You know, we're talking about Colt Fuller. His dad, of course, was the second head coach here. He followed the legendary Eddie Peach, and
that would be a hard task.
That was, and Trent was a college quarterback and played at Arlington High. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Ball's taken out, handoff number, looks like 13. Takes the ball and goes off left guard for a gain of 2.
Dorsey, number 23, the ball carrier.
42.
Ball's on
Knocked
the
down by number
27-yard line.
For the Vikings, Taj Lagrone. Gain of 2.
Quick pass out into the flat.
Pass, intended.
Short hops it to the
Taylor.
receiver.
So as I said, Trent was a college, he was a quarterback for Arlington High and then played in college at Abilene Christian, and then their oldest son, Chance Fuller, was quarterback here for a couple of years. And so Colt, bless his heart, was kind of destined by his DNA to be a quarterback, but
no expectations.
Yeah, that's right, but ended up in a class with another young man. He had some special talents at that position, and so instead of complaining or whining about it, Colt just proceeded to make himself into an excellent tight end. Great family, by the way.
We're going to have a sack in the backfield.
Beecham sacked.
28.
By
Back to the 21-yard line. Loss of 6.
Keswin Kinney. Loss of 6.
So I mentioned, Steve, each year we try to pick out an unusual body type to be on our 7-on-7 team. I mentioned earlier Bobby Brown, the kid that's playing at A&M. Well, Keswin, Kenny Keswin, who just made that tackle, is a defensive tackle. So one would wonder what he's doing on our 7-on-7 team playing tight end. But Keswin is just one of those kids that is a
Javon Milton, number 41.
fire plug. He doesn't quit, and his energy level picks everybody else up. So, you know, Coach DeLay and I kind of talk about, well, should we really use a non-receiver player on our final roster or not? But sometimes you get a guy that's kind of an alpha male who really makes your team a little tougher.
Yep.
And that's one of the things I love about Coach DeLay is he will give me a little bit of room, a little license to try to finish the product with a player like a Bobby Brown or an Adam Hill back in the day. We had a 300-pound, as Coach Pete said, the best offensive guard in the state of Texas in that 2003-2004 era was Adam Hill. Well, Adam Hill played tight end on our 7-on-7 team, and Coach Pete said, well, I guarantee you he'll never play down a tight end for Lamar football. He was too good. He was right.
Well, the Panthers line up for punt and have to take a timeout because they didn't have the right personnel on. Now they're back on schedule. West is back deep to receive. Flag is thrown.
I think Lamar was offsides, I think.
From the 44.
Oh my.
Good, Trayvon. Save
Trayvon.
it though, Trayvon.
Trayvon takes the ball on about the
Coming
40-yard
back.
line,
West brought
returns it
down
to
by
the
number
20,
11, Francis.
but there is a flag on the
Flags
play. That's about a 50-yard return running through tacklers. And it is offsides.
If it's a 5-yard penalty, then it's probably going to be a re-kick.
It is offsides against.
Offsides is the call against Lamar.
Yeah.
So the ball will
Because
be
it's not
on the
enough for a
26.
first down, so and they sure don't want to give us that return.
Well, let's
so
don't take that return. Let's try another
that's
one.
right. By process of elimination, they don't want to kick it again.
Mrgalski, number 17, deep for Lamar.
So we're going to let
Hilton
somebody else
punt.
try to return Mrgalski.
They
Yeah, well, the other one's just
they get a
50-yard
little
return.
oxygen
Yeah.
into Trayvon. but-
Trayvon, yep. Ball's kicked away from the receiver, goes out on the 39-yard line. You're going to mark it at the 39-yard
It'll
line.
be first and 10 Lamar at their own 39-yard line.
Well,
Well,
that's
people that
one
are-
way to prevent a return.
Yeah, that's right. Well, people that are listening to the broadcast, maybe that went home and the lights went out, and are listening in and look at the scoreboard and say it's 28-7. I think Lamar's really dominating. But I think the Lamar coaching staff would say to the team, yeah, that's great. I mean, we're winning, and that's the point. But we've got to clean up a lot of the mistakes that we've made tonight. We're not going to be perfect, but we've got to play to our potential, not down or to the opponent, and that's true any week. But so there's a good 28-7 and there's a bad 28-7. This is probably less than a perfect one.
Sweep to the right with Anthony Williams
Williams brought down by Creighton.
for a gain of 3 up to the 42.
Gain of 3, second and 7.
Out with Williams in the running back position is Leandre Roberts, number 24. He splits out now right to the slot. Another
Looking at
pass.
Cam Brady.
Hit it for 11.
Cam
Intended for
pass
Brady.
for Cam
broken
Brady
up
down
by
at the
number 3,
30-yard line.
Washington.
Cam actually became the defender to knock the ball away from the defender who actually had his hands on it. So that brings up 3rd and 8 for the Vikings.
It's always a temptation to throw into double coverage, but you've got to be awfully selective with that, because no matter how good your receiver is, when there's a safety over the top of the play, the ball better be delivered perfectly, or you got 4 other hands that want a piece of that pie.
And they did at that time.
All right, Cam Brady's going to be open again if he now. Let's see here.
Wide open.
19. Get it?
West on the sideline.
Trevon West
First
was
down.
open at the 49-yard line.
Defender number 7.
Dawson
Creighton.
finds him.
That was a nice decision by Jack Dawson. That's not where he wanted to go initially, but he decided, since he was sprinting to the right after he looked at trying to throw back across his body deep to Cam Brady versus hitting Travion in kind of an outlet, that was a safer decision.
So the ball takes.
Williams, the ball carrier.
Dawson takes the ball, hands it off to Williams up the middle over the left guard.
35,
Who's on the
Moves the ball up
45, 35.
to the 42-yard line, gain of 7.
Number 45, Campbell on the stop.
16 again.
And again, ball is handed off to Williams.
Williams, the ball carrier.
Takes the ball
First down.
off the
Lamar.
left side again,
45 on the stop.
Number
moving-
45 again on
moving
the stop.
into the 39-yard line.
Campbell. First and
First
10.
and 10 at the 39. They're moving quickly here.
Yes, they are.
Trap play,
16 again.
Williams going off,
Williams, the ball carrier.
looks like for a gain of 3.
22, Wilder. 35,
Gain of 2 up to the
Vest.
37.
making the stop.
Now you've probably set up a play action here. Let's see if they call that.
Wide receivers out left.
It's going to go deep left. Going to go deep left. He's got him. Got him.
Got him.
Okay, good.
Number 11,
Touchdown, Cam Brady.
Brady again.
And I don't think there's any doubt that that play was set up by two good, strong running plays by Anthony Phillips. The plays before, and that, again, when you get Cam single covered with no safety in the same zip code, that's a throw you want to make.
And he had gotten behind his defender, and it was a beautifully thrown ball. Caught it in stride and ran into the end zone.
Ford to attempt the point after.
So Blake Ford is in for the extra point, but he
The kick is
misses it,
left foot off
goes
to the
off
right.
to the right, and that's a rare miss. So with 3:53 left in the half, the new score: Vikings 34,
Just under 4
Panthers
minutes
7.
remaining in the half.
Steve,
Looks like Ford may have hit the ground because that ball did not have the trajectory that he normally does.
I was just thinking as we watched that throw is that Shane Buechele is arguably one of the best deep ball throwers in Division I. Shane really can drop the dime, as people like to say, on a fade route or a corner route, where he really puts enough loft under it to let the guy really be the only person who can make a play on it. And Jack has a lot of those same talents. He, again, watching him all summer, he can really throw a ball where a receiver wants it. Okay, so the receiver doesn't get blown up, or he's not really having to compete for it. And
Number 1, Taylor. Number 9,
that kind of telemetry is just a kind of a gift.
That's something that you can't necessarily develop or teach.
Yeah, repetition helps, but you either got that or you don't. Steve, you're right.
Blake tees up the ball again, kicks it high and deep, fair call
at the 21-yard line.
1-yard line. So there's an
Number
effective
17,
kickoff.
Patrick
You kick it high.
That was kind of looked like a punt, didn't it?
It did. And the Panthers have learned we better take what we've got.
Yes.
So now the ball is on the 25-yard line after the fair catch on the kickoff.
Take 4.
First and 10 from the 25. The quarterback's number 4, Beecham.
Beecham takes the snap, runs left, throws the ball into to the flat,
Pass is complete to English.
where he was caught and for a
On the
3-yard gain.
tackles, Crenshaw, number 4. Number 44, Hartley.
4-yard gain. Number 9 in motion left to right.
24 has.
24 takes the handoff following the
Number 24
motion man
takes the handoff.
and loses a yard.
44 on tackle.
No gain, they're saying. It's good defensive play
Steve,
on that right.
I was just going to say, Steve, that Coach DeLay, by background, is a defensive coach. That's his side of the ball, and he's got some great guys over there. Billy Skinner, who played here at Lamar for Coach Peach, and went on to play at Sam Houston, then came back and is a coach now for Lamar. Does a great job of getting people in the right fits, meaning their gap sound. And this is hard for that number 4. He's a great athlete, but he's just having a hard time finding any real windows,
Yes.
throwing or running.
He takes the ball this time, and he's known as a breakaway
Rogalski.
scrambler.
Yeah, he's a real. You can tell he's athletic,
Yeah.
but he just we're not buying his head fakes and his jukes. We're staying gap sound. And
So they were prepared for him. Yeah. Just like then, he was back to pass for a pass, and there was nothing open, and he tried to go to an opening, and it didn't last long. It closed
quickly
over that right side. Offensive side.
mentioned Billy Skinner, who was an all-district, two-time all-district player here for Lamar, and then he went to Sam Houston. His recruiting tale was really interesting. He had been offered by Tulane. He'd committed to Tulane, and he was just about ready to pack his suitcases when the assistant coach that made the offer to him left Tulane.
Oh.
And the new coach said, "Sorry, Charlie, we don't have an offer for you." And so Billy had Coach Skinner had to make a quick choice about where he was going to go, and he ended up going to Sam Houston. It worked out great for him.
Trayvon West back to receive a punt on 4th and 5.
Boy, he's up close.
He has to go fade back to the 30-yard line.
Trayvon, here we go.
Trayvon's coming right, running fast to outrun 3 defenders. Runs out after a 7-yard gain. So ball's placed at the 42-yard line.
You know, I don't know this, but now I kind of was thinking, well, we sure are targeting Trayvon a lot tonight. I'll bet you $1 that there's some Oklahoma coaches here tonight. But while they're in town, why wouldn't they send an assistant coach over to have a look at one of their prize pupils? And so I think maybe we're...
Well, I hope they got the message that the game was called back on.
yeah, that's right.
All right, so the Vikings take over on their own 42-yard line. Dawson at quarterback. Anthony Williams in the backfield. Dawson, quick throw out to the right-hand side to Leandre Roberts for a pickup of about 5 yards. That didn't take long.
Number 5, Aiden Armstrong on the stop. 2nd and 5.
We've talked a lot about Trayvon, but haven't mentioned his brother Harold much. Harold's junior, plays corner on our defense. He's about 3 inches taller than his older brother, which he painfully reminds him all the time. And somebody's going to get a real good football player out of Harold. It's just going to be another year.
So Trayvon is out on the right. Dawson fakes
Complete pass
to the right.
5.
Run to the right, and
On
then
the play.
comes left. He's pressured. There's nobody there, so he has to throw the ball away. There's a flag on the play.
Ineligible player downfield.
Lineman downfield. They'll take a 5-yard penalty on that. That moves the ball back to the 41-yard line.
2nd down, 11.
Now, if you look at this alignment that North Crowley's in, they're not going to have any safety help over Trey. They had a single high safety, and good luck getting all the way to the corner
when you're there. Oh.
Pass intended for Anthony Williams.
Williams was open in the left flat with nobody within 10 yards of him, and
yeah, that was a good
Dawson
design.
just didn't get it to him.
What they did was they sent Cam Brady on a post pattern and then did a wheel route out of the backfield for Williams. That was a good design because, of course, all the attention's on 11, and we just didn't execute the pass.
Did not execute that time. So it brings up 3rd and 11. Pass to the left. Overthrows Cam
for West, incomplete.
at the 48.
4th down.
So that brings up 4th down for the first time tonight.
Number 5, Armstrong.
The Vikings are forced to punt.
Who's deep? Number 9.
Dawson is in as the
for
kicker.
The Panthers at his own 25.
Kay Brown,
Dawson
wide
with
receiver,
punts.
is back deep for the Panthers, standing on his own 25-yard line. Man in motion. Ooh, ball kick, ball bounces and is down at the 29-yard line.
At the 29. 1st and 10.
That's about a 50-yard kick.
Mm-hmm. That's a good kick.
That'll work.
1st down and 10 for the Panthers at their own.
You know, that's got to
29.
throw off a defense when your quarterback is your kicker and he takes the ball and starts running left.
Well, and
then
you're
kicks
right.
left.
And we motioned a guy across the formation, which probably got their attention that, hey, fake.
In the shotgun, Cyrus to his left.
All right, so the Panthers take over at their own 29-yard line. First pass is to the running back in the left flat. He goes through his hands for no gain. 2nd down, 10.
You know, Steve, I don't know if North Crowley participates in 7-on-7 this summer. Most schools do in some form or fashion, maybe not in all the qualifying tournaments, but sometimes they'll get with other high schools in their area and do it. But just looking at their route trees and things, that
Intended for number 16.
they're obviously
English
more
incomplete.
comfortable running the
down
ball
10.
than they are throwing it. There's
Seems to
no
be.
doubt about that.
And they're not connecting, this quarterback's not connecting with his receivers. He had a receiver coming across on that second down play, coming across the middle from right to left and nobody around him.
I think you're right.
He just missed him.
I think the receivers are designed to help spread the defense out so he can run, but against Lamar, because we talked about earlier about our staying home, that's hard to do.
Okay, for 1.
Pass is
So the
intended
quarterback
for Taylor.
Takes a
The
deep
defender,
throw left
4,
down
Crenshaw.
to the Vikings 40, but it is
Fourth
overthrown,
down, 10.
incomplete.
29.
So it's a 3 and out.
And I was just going to say, you do 3 quick
West
passes like
will
that, you
gate
burn no
Lamar.
time off the clock. You give the ball back to Lamar, and in a
41.
minute 12 with Lamar's passing game is enough to get it down the field.
Lamar has scored on
Receiving and
minute 12 more than once this season.
41 kicking.
We have a 2-minute drill that we practice religiously in the summertime, and
41 Milton.
boy, it helps when you have receivers of this caliber because they can go up and make a play for you.
Yes. So the punt again is kicked away from Brady. Again, it goes out on the 40-yard line, almost
They're on the
identical to
40-yard
that
line.
last
Flag
punt.
on the play.
Okay, we have a flag.
Unsportsmanlike, I think, is where we're going here.
All right, the flag is an unsportsmanlike conduct on the Panthers. So the ball will move.
Unsportsmanlike, the call against North Crowley.
And so the ball is placed at the 40. And
There
then
was a dead ball foul that happened right in the midst of Lamar's bench. It was against North Crowley, but that's the location for the penalty. So now we're going to have a significantly shorter field
15-yard penalty.
for this minute 6.
And so the ball, with that 15-yard unsportsmanlike
66
penalty,
seconds
places the
remaining
ball
in the half.
on the Panthers' 45. So it's a 45 yards with a minute 6 to go. Backfield is empty. You got trips left. Single right.
7 kept it.
And the quarterback, Dawson, is keeping the ball.
Dawson on the
Runs
kick
the ball
down
up
the
to
30.
The 30-yard line
Wilson,
for a
number 20.
15-yard gain.
Vest, 35, making the
Get him to
stop.
play. Get him to play.
Trips left again. Single right. Dawson's going to take the ball again up the middle. He's
Good cut.
Cuts out right.
Gonna score.
He's going to score.
Got it.
Dawson,
Yeah, Dawson runs it in
30 yards
from the
out,
30-yard line for a
Lamar.
touchdown.
Well, that's just a great job. As I said, Jack thinks like a running back when he gets his number called. He's not looking for a soft landing. As
We got a
Coach Todd
flag.
says. That's good running.
Yeah, it was a beautifully run. He ran around a couple of defenders.
And Jack's faster than most people give him credit for too.
Holding against Lamar.
Personal foul against Lamar.
Personal foul
No
brings the
touchdown.
ball
Looks like there's a personal foul
back to the 19.
against the Vikings.
So it is a first down, but the ball is placed on the 19.
First and 10 Vikings.
We have a personal foul against the Vikings.
Well, I don't think they'll run Jack again. That'd be 3 in a row.
3 in a row with 39
We're
seconds.
going to heave this one.
Well, it won't be much heaving for him, 19 yards to the end zone. We've got 39 seconds to go, 19 yards. Let's see what we can do here. Trips left, single right.
Well, they ran it again. What do I know?
Bobby.
What do I know?
Oh, my goodness.
Dawson on the keep.
My goodness, Dawson took the ball
3-yard line
again
brought down by
up to the
Washington.
4-yard line.
Washington, number 3. Timeout called
Took a while.
by the Vikings.
And
Line of scrimmage will be
Jumped
4. First and goal
the
is
safety.
4.
Well, I'm impressed. They called the quarterback's number 3 successive times, and he responded all 3 of them.
all 3 times, and they
So
weren't
if
around him.
If he wasn't breaking a sweat due to the cooler weather, he is now.
That's pretty impressive.
So I'm
Ball on
advocating
the-
a little here, but since there are no bands in the stadium, how about if the cheerleaders do something at halftime?
When I first met Jack Dawson, he was finishing up his freshman year, because, of course, we start 7-on-7 in the springtime. And I'd heard he was a nice young quarterback, but I hadn't had any experience with him yet. And so we had a 2B senior who was the heir apparent at that position. And so Jack said, that's fine, I'll play everywhere. And we played him on defense, we played him at receiver, and then also played him at quarterback. And he's fearless. He'll play anywhere.
16 takes the ball off the left
Touchdown,
tackle,
Lamar, number 16.
walks
ball
into the
carrier,
end zone.
Anthony Williams.
Williams.
From 4 yards out.
4-yard TD.
Sorry, brother. Good to see you.
23 is kicking, 7 holding.
So we got Blake Ford back on the field to try the extra point. I bet he doesn't muff this one.
Gomez to snap.
That one drives up
The kick is
and
good.
true. So with 29 seconds left
29 seconds
in the
remaining.
first half, the game is
41.
score is
North
Vikings
Crowley,
41, Panthers 7.
Well, I thought the Vikings really played better in the second quarter than they did in the first quarter, and that's you get off to kind of a sloppy start like that, and sometimes it'll cascade on itself. But Lamar's because they're so well coached, they're not going to let things like that drag them down mentally. And then once they kind of got in a roll, it took off quickly.
Well, they scored 4 TDs in that second quarter.
There you go. That's
So
good.
yeah, I think they
That's
played a
good.
little bit.
Yeah, 28 points.
Maybe a little bit better in the second quarter. Doubled their
Ford to
output.
kick off.
And they are
9 is looking
at
like
their season average. They're averaging about 40 points a game. And with a half to
They've
go.
hung a lot
Taylor,
in the
number
first
1.
half this year, haven't they?
They
Round
certainly
number
have.
9. Deep for Crowley.
Blake Ford tees the ball up at the 40 for the kickoff. Again, a high pooch kick. And there's a fair catch, was there? No, or just caught the ball at the 30.
I see a flag.
Another flag that came flying in? I think so, late.
Caught that.
Flag on the play.
So we got the ball on the 35.
Interference on Lamar.
Fair catch interference against Lamar. So I guess they did call it for a fair catch.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
He did.
Who
All
called
right.
for the fair catch?
So instead of the ball being on the 35, it'll move up.
Fair catch by
To the
Thompson,
50.
number 18.
So with 29
Was
seconds,
interfered with, thus the penalty. First and 10 with 29 seconds remaining.
so with
Crowley from the
29
midfield
seconds,
stripe.
the Panthers take over at the 50-yard line.
I can't see who. I think it's
Empty backfield, trips right to left. And the quarterback takes the ball right up the middle. Javion Moore.
Beecham.
Javion Moore was waiting for
Steve,
him.
that kind of tells
Call
you
by North
that
Crowley.
the state of North
Moore
Crowley's
making the stop.
philosophy,
Gain of 3.
never mind their execution,
Second
but
and 7.
you're down a lot to a little, and you've got little time left in the half, and you're running your quarterback up the middle. And they're doing that because he's probably their best athlete.
He's their primary offense.
But you've got to have an ability to get the ball vertical in this situation.
In this situation, yeah.
Yeah.
He has broken some 40, 60-yard runs, but not tonight.
Well, as I said, the antidote to a good athlete like that is to stay gap sound. The Cowboy, a great example is the Cowboy game the other night. A guy most of us hadn't heard of scored 4 touchdowns on us, and at least part of the problem was we were overrunning gaps in our pursuit, and a good running back will burn you.
Trips right,
Second and 7.
to left. Ball's thrown across the middle, down to the
Pass is caught over
28-yard line.
to number 9.
Best play for the Panthers all night.
That was his best throw of the night.
Referee is shaken up on the play at the 40-yard line.
We got a player down, an official down. Ball's at the 27-yard line, 20-yard pass play.
That's amazing to me, Steve, that doesn't happen more often. These guys that ref these games are literally right in the middle of the cage with the Tigers, and it's a wonder that more of them don't go down.
Yeah,
Thankfully, they do.
Yeah, and that umpire sits right back there in the middle of that defense.
He really does.
And they're running right at
He's
it.
like a middle linebacker.
A backup middle
Yeah,
lineman.
that's right. I'm not sure I want that ticket.
19 seconds, ball on the 27.
1st and 10 from the 27.
That was a good play, a good pass from Beecham. Waiting for the snap. Beecham takes the ball. He spikes the ball to stop.
Spikes the ball. 2nd and 10.
That way we save a timeout, I guess. How many timeouts we got? I can't see on the board.
Is it one each? I can't know on the
40
glasses.
second clock.
All right, they line up
Yeah, they
again.
each have one left according to the scoreboard.
Second down. 10 at the 29. Another pass play out to the 19,
Pass is complete.
18-yard line.
For a
First
10.
down.
1st and 10. The
Nice
defender
pass.
was number 4, Crenshaw for the Vikes. 1st and 10 at the 16.
Let's see.
So
if
what
the-
happened?
Let's see if the Vikes don't blitz him here.
Stop some of that. We got
Yep, right up the
two
middle.
receivers left, two receivers right. Ball thrown out to the flat. Caught. Steps out at the 12-yard line. Gain of 6.
Caught
3
by
seconds
number
left.
1, Taylor. Steps out of
They've
bounds.
got to throw to the end zone on this one, Jim.
3 seconds. That doesn't leave much choice, does it?
Nope, it doesn't. So we're going to bring
Clock's rolling.
so we're going to have running back to the right.
Call time. Yeah.
The Vikings call timeout
Time's called by Lamar. 3 seconds remaining
with 3 seconds on.
in the first half.
3 seconds left in the half. The ball on the 12-yard line. It is second down.
Well, you might as well use
For the
those
Panthers.
timeouts. You can't sell them on eBay. You might as well use them.
They're not very marketable on
They're not.
eBay, are they?
They're use them or lose them.
Yep. You can't store them up and use them at retirement. So
Well, this is a good, again, it's a good chance for Lamar to work on a situational play where they got to go for all of it here. So, whether you're playing Martin or playing Pascal or whoever it is, there are schemes and alignments that we'll get in here to try to keep their best receivers out of the end zone.
2nd and 6.
So let's see what
3
happens.
seconds
We're gonna
remaining
put,
in the half.
one wide receiver left, two right.
Shotgun.
Running back goes into motion to the left, so it's 2 and 2.
We're in man.
And they're right across the middle to the tight end who was wide
Touchdown
open.
Panthers. Who is it?
37?
Number 37. That would have been the tight end,
Number
wouldn't it?
37, Joshua Collins.
Again, we were focusing on those 4 wide receivers, and that tight ends just slipped right up the middle.
Who's kicking 29?
Well, when they motioned the guy across, it was clear
the second
that
number.
at least our front 7 was in man because our linebacker went with him. James Douglas
So
was
attempt the point after
with him,
Sammy
and so
Rodriguez.
I'm not sure
19,
who had the
but
tight
one
end
holding.
scheme-wise, but
Christopher Taylor.
that didn't look like anybody did.
Nobody took him, that's
right.
for sure. He was wide open. My goodness.
The kick is
The
good.
kick is
End
good.
of the first half, Lamar 41,
But there was
North Crowley 14.
a Panther offensive lineman laying at the feet of the kicker when that play was over.
That was what we
He
used to
got-
refer to as a lookout block.
Well, okay.
Look
Look
out.
out, here I
Number
come.
12 on the bands in the
Because
pregame.
he just bulldozed that lineman. Well, end of the first
Trying to
half,
entice the North Crowley cheerleaders. to
41-14.
A cheer in the center of the field.
The Panthers made a
If not, can I talk the Lamar cheerleaders into that?
the Panthers marched 50 yards on that last scoring drive, and
Far and
that's-
away their best looking drive of the
it was a
evening.
great drive, and they probably have less than 75 yards in the whole game. 50 of them on that play.
That's with the exception of the pick 6. They didn't really have any offensive yards. That's going to show up on the defensive stat sheet. But At least clearly the kids from North Crowley are still playing hard.
Yes.
By virtue of that drive.
Yes. And the quarterback started throwing the ball with some authority.
He did. He stepped into a couple of those throws, so I'm not sure where that was early, and part of it was field position. That's the best field position they had the whole half.
Yes. And maybe they need to trust his arm more than they trust his feet.
Well, it's probably Lamar's taken away the run lane, so I think Lamar wants him to pass, and he showed that he's got some capability for that. How do I get?
Put that headset on him.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier, I've got somebody that means a lot to the Lamar program and means a lot to me personally, and we're gonna put a headset on him and get him in here and let you talk to Kendall Magana. Kendall, well, lots of things. One of my dear friends. He and his dad and I have been close for a lot of years, and Kendall, like most Lamar football players, he came up through the system and was the backup quarterback your junior year, as I recall.
Yep.
And Lamar had one of its best football teams, arguably ever that year. And we got into the playoffs, and I guess was Trinity the first game of the playoffs that
It
year?
was, yeah.
Okay. And Matt Lawrence was the senior incumbent quarterback, and Matt went down with, it was a broken leg, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ACL.
ACL, okay.
Yeah,
it was
ACL.
serious. And so, Trinity, one of the most physical teams in the state of Texas, is probably not who you would choose to be your encore performance for the Vikings, particularly in the playoffs. But in comes Kendall and takes the throttle of that Lamar offense, and we win that playoff game, and then that sets the stage for a pretty deep run. We went to the Final Four, was it that year?
Semis, yeah, semifinals.
Semifinals, and finally went out at the hands of the Houston Woodlands team, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, but hell of a run.
It was a great run until we met Danny Amendola and that Woodlands team. Actually, I remember we played the worst first half of football we'd played all year. I think we got off the bus about 45
Didn't
minutes before that game.
a couple of our guys take the SAT that morning or something? We kind of felt like we had some tired head. I remember somebody mentioning, and then was that the summer we beat the Woodlands in 7-on-7?
We did.
Okay, that's what I thought. Now, in all fairness, I think Adamola was not there that day.
No.
But a quick funny story about that summer 7-on-7 game. Of course, anytime you're playing a team like the Woodlands, it's going to be hyper competitive. And in 7-on-7, as Kendall knows, you're only supposed to have the volunteer coaches. Old guys like me out there unpaid and just helping out. That's your son? That's what I thought. We got some fans here. Hi, yeah, look at Daddy. So, at any rate, we look across the sidelines during the 7-on-7 game, and they're lined up wearing their Woodlands coaching uniforms. There's the head football coach and 7 or 8 of his assistant coaches lined up over there. And if you don't have timeouts in 7-on-7, but I stopped the game and went out there, and I go, what do you want me to do, fly Eddie Peach in on a helicopter, or are we going to have like a – and the ref, 7-on-7 ref, threw those guys off the field. I don't know if you remember that, but boy, they didn't – they were very happy with me. But anyway, those are some great times.
Team.
Well, Kendall, so then your senior year, again, another loaded football team came back, and you guys, as I recall, was it 9-1?
We ended up actually 8-3. We dropped some games. We dropped some games that year. We played some more tough competition throughout the year. I remember played. I think maybe we lost to Duncanville that year, and also we lost to who was it out of Dallas? Carter. I think
Carter.
We may have lost to Carter.
All right. Okay.
So we dropped 2 in the regular season, and then
now was Duncanville district at that time, or was that okay?
Yeah,
there was a period of time in there where we had DeSoto and Cedar Hill and Duncanville. I think were in our district. That was a gauntlet.
It was. We you know what?
Those Vaughn Miller that plays for the Denver Broncos was. I distinctly remember us playing him back in that era.
Yeah, well, I can't remember who is it. that played for Texas Tech. That was a receiver. He's in the league now. He played at he single-handedly beat us. He was at Carter. He was playing quarterback.
Is that Michael Crabtree?
Yeah, Michael Crabtree. That's who it was. How can I forget him? That was a close game though here at Cravens.
So you get through a tough regular season, and you get in the playoffs, and you draw Allen. And of course, this was before Allen had really become known as the state/national power that they are. But what they did already have was a high school that was about twice as big as any other high school, and a band that was like their band is today. It was just second to none. So pick up and tell a little bit about that, particularly with the finish of that game, because it still makes me mad every time I think about it.
You know, we're I remember distinctly that game just because we played great football, and they were a great team. While they weren't on a state or national level at that point, they were still incredible. They had an incredible talent, and we just honestly beat them. I mean, we played the whole game. We played real well, and I think we were up, I guess, by a touchdown. No, it was we were only up by 3 points, and all we had to do was run the clock out. And I remember, we had Lamar Carter that year at running back, and so he was with us the year before in our deep run in the playoffs, and so we hand the ball off to him, and he fumbles, I think, on our own 20. They kick a field goal.
And a sure-handed running back. He'd been hit hard a lot of times.
Yeah.
Big guy. I mean, big strong.
Yeah, he was a tremendous athlete and an incredible running back. I can't remember the sequence of the actual plays, but I do remember we had a terrible out-of-bounds late hit on Chase Kinnemer.
That's right. You had a terrible call. In fact, I remember Coach Peach called timeout to try to plead the case a little longer, and he just said, he wasn't going to. The ref wasn't going to hear it. So, but to your point, those kind of things, when it comes down to just one play or two at the end, then you're always susceptible to it not going your way.
And then we just went punch for punch, and
so then, because I want to make sure we get to some of your post football things. So then you go on to Southeast Missouri State, and of course you were a highly touted quarterback coming out of high school, but you get to SEMO and you make a transition to playing defense.
That's right.
And you also have some changes in your life, both some tough things at first, and then the change for the ultimate good. And I'd like you to kind of touch on as much of that as you'd like to share.
4 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So briefly, I didn't anticipate being in Missouri playing college football. Michael Williamson was up there already, and
That's
so
right. You're good friends.
He put the coaches onto me, and they ended up wanting me to play defensive back. So I played safety my first 3 years, and I ended up playing in corner my last, and returning punts the last 2 years of my career there at SEMO, which was not it's not a big school or huge program, but it was a place where I knew I could go and play football.
Yeah, you could get on.
That was my passion. But it was a rocky start for me. I got into some trouble with the law and made some bad decisions my first semester. And long story short, I met a guy who began to ask me spiritual questions that I didn't have answers to. And it was there that I realized what it really meant to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And I admitted that I didn't have that while I thought I did. And basically my sophomore year in college was a big turning point for me in my life. I committed my life to Christ and began to follow him, and I started to see some things from the inside out of my life that radically changed my passions. And so I would say that was a big life-altering experience.
College is for a lot of things, academic, but also your religious beliefs. And so again, because we got to keep going here, we're going to run out of time, but you did fast forward, you graduate, you are doing work for a nonprofit. Just mention who they are, and then also mention the size of your tribe now.
Yeah, so we live in Memphis, Tennessee now, and work for a college ministry. I still do college. I work with football teams, primarily with the ministry that I work for, which is a huge passion of ours as well. But we have 4 children now, 7 all the way down to 18 months, and it's a lot of fun. We still are, feeding massive football guys in our home every Wednesday night and doing Bible study. It's a neat opportunity to be kind of a coach off the field and a spiritual influence in those guys' lives.
I tell you, one of the real joys of being is my second gig beyond my normal job, and that's coaching young men when they're in that 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old thing, and then watch them bloom into the Kendall Maganas of the world. So seeing you and a picture of your beautiful family, and then knowing the work that you're doing up there for other kids who probably have the same issue.
Great example of Lamar staying home.
See how against other teams, I'll bet that kid goes 40 yards.
Flag on the play. Personal foul against North Crowley.
Quarter, too.